Hey everybody, we're going to continue with the anemone story today. So after talking with some friends of mine and all the helpful comments, I think it's time for me to at least set up the hospital tank. Some of the anemones are looking better. They're still shrinking, but they're not expunging their stomach content, so I'm going to watch them. But I figure I better set up the hospital tank. So I ordered some Cipro online, and I think I have enough of other equipment that I can piece together a tank. I need one more thing from Home Depot, so let's go get that really quick, and then we'll set the tank up. All right, this isn't going to be ideal. This is going to be kind of a janky setup, but I still have this innovative marine, I forget what you call it, fusion tank, and I have the stand. Here, let me put this aside real quick. So the APS stand is good for 20 gallons, but we're just going to use it with a 10-gallon tank. And I think if I peruse all of this, I can find the heaters and the hang on the back filter and everything I need. And here's what we're going to do. Of course, the cat always has to jump. You trying to be cute? Every time. Every time. Luckily, I haven't rinsed it yet. Okay, 10-gallon tank. Here's the 10-gallon tank. Super small. We are going to put this into the gallery. So I got the 3 tanks. 1, 2, 3. And this is the view I almost always use, right? Something like this, like here. And this is going to be the macroalgae seahorse tank eventually. But let's put the 10-gallon tank and the Innovative Marine and make this the anemone hospital tank just for now. Because the other option is, look at this, it's just to put it back here in the corner, and right now it's just storage for all of my lights and my microphone. So I think for now, I may not move the anemones today because they're looking a little better, but I want to get everything set up and ready to go so that I can move them if I need to, and that when I get the new shipment of anemones, whenever that's going to be, I don't know, that's on hold right now, that I can at least treat them in the tank. It's going to look janky, but that's totally fine. Let's get it set up, and then we'll come back and I'll show you the anemones just to kind of give you a 1-week update on how they're doing. So the hospital tank's pretty much set up. I still need to add some water, and I also want to check the PAR, and we'll do that in a sec. But what am I going to do, and why am I going to do it? Well, a friend of mine, Her Nano Reefs, check her out on Instagram. She is the guru of bubble tip nems. Absolutely stunningly gorgeous. We were running through checklists, and she was helping me, trying to figure out what the problem was, trying to diagnose the problem. And I didn't know a few weeks ago that anemones could have bacterial infections. And so when I was describing what was happening, she's like, it sounds like a infection of some kind that you need to treat with Cipro. And I was like, what? So what she did is she turned me on to a couple articles. So I want to take you into the computer and just kind of show you what my plan is for this. So here, let's go in real quick. So the first article was from Reef Builders, and the Reef Builders thread was taken from Reef Central from Orion N. So let's just look at the Reef Builders. It's pretty simple what we're going to be doing here. So this is the general build. The only thing really different that I've done is, well, one, I've added just a slightly different kind of pool basket. I forget what you call it. It's like a pond basket, but the one I bought's a pool basket. And then I did add a hang on the back filter because I thought that might be helpful. I'm willing to change everything around, but that's what we're doing. So basically, if you look at what you need here, I got a 10-gallon tank. I didn't want to go with a 20-gallon because you have to do 100% water changes every day for at least a week. And so with 20 gallons, that's just too much. So I went out, I bought a 10-gallon tank because, of course, like an idiot, I gave away the 10-gallon tank. And I had some power heads lying around. I had a heater lying around. I did buy a Penplax hang on the back filter for it. Oh, and for lighting, I just had some Core Life T5s with an actinic and a white. So we're going to test that. I'm hoping it puts out enough light. It's going to be super close, and I've clamped on the pool baskets near the surface, so I'm hoping the light will be enough, but we'll test that here in a minute. You run your lights for 12 hours a day, if you see here. run your lights 12 hours a day. Then you take the Cipro, and I'm gonna use a glove because it's antibiotics, and you break it up 250 milligrams in front of one of the power heads. And the thing with the Cipro is the Cipro will quickly degrade with light. Then you leave the lights off. In the morning, you put the lights on for 12 hours. But the trick is, whenever you see the anemone spew something into the water, you do an immediate water change. So I'm gonna be gone for the next few days. So I'm gonna get the tank up and going and ready, but I'm not gonna start it yet. But it's only the watermelon bubble tip that seems to be having the problem. But this is it. So this is the general treatment, and you have to do this for a week. You have to have at least 3-day cycles where the anemone doesn't expel anything, doesn't have an open mouth. And then if it doesn't work within a short amount of time, I'll put a link down below to this article. If it doesn't work within a short amount of time, then you have to quickly up the dose to 500 milligrams. That's it. And if you want to see the full thing, check out this one from Reef Central. This one has much more in-depth from Orion. This was his, but you can see here. I'm not going to go over it. But they have a few slightly different methods here. But the simplified one that I'm going to do, that Her Nano Reefs, that Patty recommends, is this one right here at Reef Builders. A proven method for treating bacterial infections. But let's go fill up the tank real quick, and then let's test the PAR and see how we're doing. I'm hoping we're going to be okay. Before we head over there, let me just show you real quick the antibiotics I'm using. Here, let me see. I might have to adjust the lighting. Oh, sorry. This is what I'm using. What does it say? I can't read backwards. Fish Aid Antibiotics right here. 250 milligrams. Isn't it amazing that you need a prescription to buy antibiotics for yourself, but when it comes to your fish, you can just pick up antibiotics? By the way, if you ever get this stuff, this is not for human consumption, okay? Don't even consider it. This is only for your fish. Use it safely, use it carefully. This is the general setup. So I'm just using these blue pool caddies. I don't know what they are, but I rinsed them out. And then I'm clamping them on right here near the surface. And so the goal is going to be to keep the water line right here, not any higher than that. That way the anemones can't escape even if they want to. I'm using the Core Life, just this really cheap fixture from Marine Depot. It's got the blue and the white actinic bulbs. And then I'm using 2 power heads. And I'm going to be directing these power heads. I don't even know what these are. These are maybe some J-Bow power heads, really inexpensive. And I'm going to just direct it here. And then this little mesh stuff should basically disperse it. And then I have one on this side as well that you can see that's going to be going towards there. And then I am going to use this hang on the back filter. And right now I have the flow of the filter kind of coming down in the middle. If that messes things up, I'll just take that out because I don't really need it. But I was thinking too that having this Penplax hang on the back filter might be helpful for removing any sort of sputum that the anemones have. And right now I have 2 in here, but I'm only going to use 1, I think, for now, just because I only have the 1 watermelon anemone that's having problems. But I bought 2 because when I get a shipment eventually of 10 to 15 more anemones, I'm going to put them in here first. So let's go ahead and fill this up, and then we're going to test the PAR to see what we're at. Not going to cut it. The PAR in the little pool basket here topped out at like 85 or 90. So I need to go look around. I think I might have a couple more lights in the garage because this is just not going to be enough. I was able to find 2 other lights, but I don't think either of these will work. This is I think this is just like a Phoenix Refugium light. I'll put it on there and we'll check the PAR, but I don't think this is going to be anywhere near enough. And then I have, look at this thing. I have this giant Mars Aqua light, which is way too big, and it doesn't come with any sort of mount, so I have to just rest it kind of on the top like that. And I think even if I put just the blues on, right here, and I put them to minimum, I think it's going to be too much. But I don't know. We'll try both of them, and then we'll see. Phoenix light, even though it's a refugium light, it has a lot of reds in it, but it still has some blues in it, so it's getting a lot more par. It's putting out 130 or so. Oh, evidently I just broke my thumb. Look at that. I don't even know how I did that. Anyway, back to the point. Yeah, this is better so far. So as of now, I'm going to use this light. And plus, it's not going to grow algae everywhere, even though it does have a lot of red, so it's definitely more algae prone. But this is putting out almost enough par, I think, at 150. So let's try the Mars Aqua Light, which I think is going to be way too much. Mars Aqua ones actually work better than I thought. I can tune them down to somewhere like less than 100 par if I just put it at 20%. But if I put it somewhere around like 40%, just under 40%, then I'm getting around 200 par in the basket here. So I mean, par-wise, that's what I'm going for, somewhere around 200 par. But my concern is that, I don't know if you've seen it, I'll come over here and show you, but here, let me just show you. Check this out. Can you see, there's two problems. One, these lights are super spread out here. They're super spread out, so there's going to be a total hotspot. And two, probably can't even see it, but on this side right here, there's just tons of moisture already. So I don't think that's going to be a good option because these aren't waterproof. So I think I'll just go with the Phoenix light and we'll try that one. I hope it works. Ideally, I'd have another AI Prime, and I actually have one coming, but I'm going to be using it on a different tank. So I think we'll go with the Phoenix for now. But let me show you the state of the anemones before we call it a day, and then you can see exactly what the issues are, and then my kind of plan going forward. I'll be gone. Today's Saturday that I'm filming this, so I'm going to be gone until Wednesday. So I can't put the sick anemone in here now because I can't do the water changes. So I'm hoping everything will be okay till I get back. So this is the problem child right here. This is a watermelon. It's getting smaller and smaller, and every single day, look at this. The mouth is open, and it's really every morning, and it expunges something every single morning. And this is the only anemone that's still doing that. I take a baster and I blow it away every single time, and then it seems to puff back up. But this is the one that seems to have the infection. So this is the one I'm going to pull out if it survives till Wednesday and treat it, although you can see it's already way smaller than it used to be. The others are doing better, but they're small. Here's one of the 3 rose bubble tips, and just small tentacles reaching toward the light. The par where he is right around 200, and I'm going to leave it there for now. I've been trying to feed every single day, but take a peek at these as well. Now all 3 of these are together, which is kind of fun actually. The rose bubble tip there on the bottom right, and then the green bubble tip. This is the best looking rose bubble, and it's still not fantastic, but I need it to grow. It's still shrinking, I think. So I'm going to be replacing these lights, and I'm going to be putting 2 AI primes on here. So that way it's going to be consistent across all my tanks, AI primes. The green bubble tip, even though it looks awful, and it does look awful, don't get me wrong, it's looking better. It has tentacles. It had no tentacles a couple weeks ago. And then this little tiny rose bubble, I don't have any hope for at all. But these ones I'm not going to pull out because their mouths are never open. The only one that seems to be having the problem is that watermelon. I just actually want to take a second to say thank you guys. There were a lot of comments on last week's gallery, and I tried to get to them all. I think I got to them all. But I actually do listen, and you guys had some great suggestions. So I wrote down a couple lists of some people I want to thank, which I have now spent a lot more money because of your suggestions, which is fantastic. Okay, Velcro strips. Gregory Hines, thank you. Look what came in the mail. He told me, dude, why don't you use Velcro strips instead of all those zip ties? And I was like, oh, I didn't even know they sold these. So now I got to pack 100. So I'm going to start using those. So thank you, Gregory. Multimeter. I don't know how to use it. But who's this? Quentin. Quentin was like, dude, check your stray voltage and buy this. And he gave me a link. I think I got a slightly different one than he recommended, but I'm going to learn how to use this. I don't know how to use it yet, Quentin, but I'm going to learn. So thank you for this. I'm going to be testing the water soon. And then ICP test. Look at this. Look at everybody who's like, dude, ICP test. Have you tried an ICP test? Charles Finley, Green Avocado, Zach Bowerman, Flippers Reef, Skinner JW, Nano Reefer, G Collins, and Jill Carmichael. You guys all recommended an ICP test. So guess what? It's in the mail. If you guys are having problems with anemones, I'm going to put a link to both the forum and the Reef Builders article below, and I'll also put a list, a purchase list of everything that I bought. Some of them will be at Marine Depot, some of them will be at Home Depot or Lowe's, so it'll just be kind of a mix, but you can see what I bought. Biggest thing to look for, in my understanding, is if your anemone every single day deflates, spews out the contents of his stomach, gaping mouth, that is a sign I might have a bacterial infection. So I'm gonna try treating it. Maybe this will help some of you guys as well. I'll of course let you guys know how it goes. I also just spent, this last week, I spent like $2,000. You know, like I make money from this business and then I just put it right back in the business. So I have a saint of a wife who lets me do that. But I just spent like $2,000 this week. And one of the things I bought was, I did buy a second AI prime. I now own 1, 2, 3 AI primes. And we're gonna be switching out these lights here. These razor lights, I'm not convinced that anybody else uses these on anemones. So I have nobody to compare them to, right? But if I use AI prime lights, so many people use them, and I can say, hey, what are your light settings? Copy those light settings, and then if I'm still having problems with anemones, I can say, hey, I know it's not the lights. I can't say that right now. So I'm gonna move this over to the quarantine/frag tank, and I'm gonna put 2 AI primes here, and I'm just gonna copy a schedule from a friend of mine who has a lot of success, and we'll see if that works. If you guys also watch my Friday videos, I'm gonna be out of town this week, so there's not gonna be a video this Friday. So be sure to tune back in on Tuesday, because we're gonna give you an update on everything that's going on in the gallery. Anemone update, we'll check the voltage, and we'll talk about the new tanks and the new builds that are coming up. As always, everybody, happy reefing. Thanks for watching. Be well. We'll see you next time.